Hey, strangers. Welcome to another quiet episode of the Strange Sessions. I'm Krista, this is Kurt, and we are the only people here.
Yes, and we're so happy to be the only ones in the school.
Yes.
I was actually, as soon as you started saying, hey, strangers, I was going to say it too, just to throw you all off track, but I'm like, no.
Well, thanks.
I feel like we're unusually goofy today.
We are.
Silly.
I don't know what it is.
We tried taking a video that you guys will see on Facebook by now. Krista and I are talking into her phone and then realized that it was just a picture. Yep. It wasn't actually a video we were taking. So we're sitting there talking out in the hallway like a couple of goofballs.
Yeah, it was great.
Yeah.
So the actual video is kind of funny, but yeah, it'll work.
Yep.
So what's going on? We have some housekeeping.
We do it. No, it's shout-outs.
Oh,
we always start with
shout-outs. Sorry. See, I have no idea what's going on.
Yeah, because we were all like a hot mess trying to get this going, and I accidentally posted the picture to my Facebook wall, and it's like, next season we're gonna get our stuff together.
Yeah, we're gonna get this all ironed out. We'll nail it in season 5
these were what do they call them in football? Like growing seasons.
Is that what they call it?
When they have a bunch of new players on a team.
We're rookies for sure.
We are rookies for sure.
We'll always be rookies.
But we want to give shout outs to our newest strangers, and those are Chelsea Stanhope, Billy Pilgrim, which I believe is a name from a Kurt Vonnegut novel. I think that might be a pseudonym.
Okay.
David Garcia, Justin Allen, Joni Bastek, and I want to give a shout out to any of my students from Washington Middle School that are listening, because I let it slip to my 6th graders this week that we do a podcast. So they all had their Chromebooks out and they were all like looking through the episodes and they were playing it and listening to it. So just want to give a shout out to you guys. And I love my students. I really do.
Good.
If anything has amazed me with this new job, it is like how cool the kids are.
That's awesome.
Yeah. I have yet to have a really bad experience, so I'm sure that could all change in the near future, but for now they're all awesome.
Good. I'm sure they love you too.
So thank you guys so much for listening and joining the strangers, and we're going to move into some housekeeping. And Krista's, we've been teasing some big news that I think
really not that big.
that I think everybody thinks is bigger than it's going to be.
Everybody's freaking out.
We're quitting the podcast or we're splitting up, but no, Krista, you want to tell them what our exciting news is?
Our semi-exciting
news?
Mostly news that only affects us. Well, I guess it affects the listeners a roundabout way.
I said on there that we could actually do it and they might not even notice, but they're going to notice.
They would notice.
Yeah.
I suppose we should tell them what it is.
Yeah, we should.
Well, you guys have heard us talking over the past several months just about how crazy the school is. Like, we'll get here and there'll be a whole bunch of cadets here for this military thing that they're doing, and it's year round. We thought it was only in the summer. Nope, it's year round. And add on top of that the potlucks that happen here and the sporting practices that happen here. We just don't feel like this is really our space anymore. And we did show up one day, I don't know if it was last year or the year before, and
we couldn't get in.
We couldn't record that week. So long story short, we're actually moving the Strange Sessions to my basement.
To Krista's basement. We are going to be recording at Krista's basement.
Shade carpeting and lava lamps as far as the eye can see. Actually, none of that exists down there, but
darn it, I kind of wish it did.
Yeah. Well, hey man, we can decorate it however we want. But
I feel like you were hesitant to suggest it because you know that I like this school.
Yeah. I have no attachment to this place.
And I do like it.
I like that we have creepy experiences.
I liked
here,
it when it used to be just us in here, but I think that's because we were recording at night.
Yeah, we did.
And not so much on weekends, but now it's got to be weekends, and now it just doesn't feel like just our place anymore. Where before it did.
We're sharing the space.
So I'm kind of sad because I am going to miss the school, but it's just appropriate to start our 5th. Our plan is to start the next season in the new studio. Yeah. So we're going to start our 5th season in Krista's basement.
Yeah, and Jim is actually going to build a wall in our basement.
Jim is so awesome. It was so nice having him on the last episode.
And he offered to do that. When I said, we should just do it in our basement, he's like, I'll build a wall for you guys and you can have your own space. He'll even soundproof it, he said. So
we love you, Jim.
It's pretty amazing.
Thank you so much.
Yeah, so it's like a semi-finished basement. Kurt's going to come over after the episode today, actually, and see my house for the first time.
Because I've never been there.
I've lived there for like 2 years.
I mean, I've only seen it from the windows around the yard at night, so I don't know what like the basement looks like.
God. Yeah. So anyway, we figured too that our selfies, the background is going to look a little different at some point. You might notice. So it was worth telling everyone.
It's not going to be like in a hallway
at
school anymore.
It's going to be in the basement.
So yeah, that's kind of our cool news. Like I said, I'm a little sad because I am going to miss a school, but I'm not going to miss that drive.
Right. And we're excited to have a place where we can actually display all the amazing things that people are sending us.
without worrying about it getting stolen by somebody.
Right. Well, and these are like concrete walls where it's really difficult to hang stuff. So
I mean, we can put up our missing 411 maps. We can do all that stuff. So it's going to be super awesome. So I'm excited. I am excited.
So that's the big news. I did sort of allude to the fact that there was a couple of announcements, and the other one it's not really worth talking about. Because if you're listening and you're not on social media, it's not going to matter to you. So anyway, the people on social media know what I'm talking about, and that's fine. But the other piece I wanted to mention is that I did order boxes and bubble wrap for the mugs. We've created some online accounts and also signed up for this pirate ship website where you can ship for cheaper than going through the USPS. So we are getting really close to finally fulfilling the mug orders. So thank you for your patience.
Awesome. Were you referring to your getting off of social media?
Yeah.
Okay. I just didn't know if you were referring to that or not.
It's not really news.
No, but it's especially after I researched this episode.
Yeah, after this
episode, I kind of want to get off social media.
Probably follow suit.
And we are also changing the day we release our podcast.
Oh,
if you're in the strangers, you know that because now we're doing all virtual school. Mm-hmm. So I'm going to be stuck at my table in Google Meets from 7:30 in the morning till 3 o'clock in the afternoon. So the last thing I'm going to kind of want to do is dink around on my computer anymore after that. And it's just easier because I have off all day Sunday.
Yeah.
So we're going to be releasing the episode Sunday afternoon.
We just like to keep everyone on their toes.
Yeah, we move it around.
We're always changing
stuff. A couple weeks, we'll be releasing it on Thursday.
Hey, man, it's our
middle
podcast.
of the night Thursday. Yeah.
We can do what we want.
So it's going to be released now Sunday afternoons.
I feel like all the changes only benefit people, so nobody can really
I totally agree.
Complain.
I totally agree. I don't know if people if people get annoyed because they want it released a certain day. I don't know.
Nobody's ever said that.
No.
The feedback I've always gotten is why are you making us wait so long?
Why were we? We had to record it and I edit it the same day and then we sit on it for like 4 days
I don't know.
before releasing it. So yeah, we're still learning. It's a rebuilding. We
reserve the right to get smarter and more efficient.
Yeah. By season 10, we're going to have this down pat.
We'll at least understand how to post to Facebook.
Oh my God, did we have an ordeal this week trying to get that all figured out?
Oh man.
Anyway, let's jump right into do we have any other housekeeping?
Oh, we were going to do
the
tarot poll.
Yes, do a quick tarot reading.
And it's not going to focus on Kurt. It's going to focus on the move to my basement.
Yes, we want to see if we are making a wise choice moving to Krista's basement.
The cards may be like, we're going to do it anyway. Screw the cards.
Because if I lose my job, I might end up living there in the basement. So
better bring that blanket you're always talking about here.
I'll definitely bring the blanket.
There's actually a king size bed in our basement right now, so you literally could live down there.
It's better than my apartment.
Yeah, there's couches and a TV and our PlayStation. Our PS3 is down there. We're buying the PS5. We should probably get on the waiting list for that. It comes out in November.
You need a PS4. Amazing games on there. Witcher 3.
But why get a PS4 when the new one's coming out? I don't know. I haven't looked to see what games are on PS4.
Oh, such good ones.
I know The Last of Us. I'm playing The Last of Us right now, and the sequel's on PS4. But
that's the one where I didn't want to play it, so I just read on Wikipedia what all happens.
You're funny. Okay. You ready?
I'm ready. We got to get a Ouija board for your basement, too.
House to the no. Let me see what it is. Oh.
It is the Father of Swords.
Do you want to read it? Here, I'll find it for you. So what did we pull? We pulled a sword card last week.
I love this picture with the owl. This is cool.
You like owls, right?
Yes.
You're an owl dude.
Father of Swords. If I was in a heavy metal band, that would be my name. Like all the Swords family, or Swords, as Krista would say.
Swords.
Like all the Swords family, the father has a gift for... start over. It's just like I'm doing the actual episode. Like all the Swords family, the father has a gift for perception. He has a distinct ability to remove himself emotionally from a situation so that he can truly see it from all angles. He is therefore respected by others who usually describe him as fair or just. He's a responsible man with deep ties to his family. I don't know how that pertains.
So I suppose you could look at that as we're making this decision because it's a practical one.
Yeah.
We're not basing it on
But
our
it sounds like it's a
emotions.
good decision.
Yeah.
Cool.
This is not an emotional decision.
No.
It's a practical one.
Good. Now I'm not scared about it anymore.
You were scared about it?
No. I really wasn't scared about it.
All right. Sweet.
But let's jump into the taste test
Okay.
because this is a 13-pager story.
The taste test is 13 pages
No, but
long.
the story is beefy.
It's beefy. Is our taste test beefy?
No.
Oh.
Actually, no, it's not beefy.
Okay.
This is from listener Melissa, and
Okay,
Krista
Melissa.
and I want to send her our love because her mother just passed
Yeah.
away.
So sorry to hear that.
Yeah, so hopefully she's doing okay. This is a package that was sent to us a couple months ago.
Okay.
But we have 2 gifts, and they're going to be for Krista because they refer to something.
Oh.
Gift number 1.
He's been hiding them under a blanket behind him. Oh, sweet. Gone squatching.
It's a Gone Squatching refrigerator magnet.
You know what?
Yes.
Boom.
That's going to be
It
in
can
our
go on
that's
the
going to be in the new
whiteboard.
studio. Yep.
That is so cool.
That is awesome.
Gone squatching. I love it. People know me.
And this, I question the validity of this.
Uh-oh. Uh-oh.
A vial of Bigfoot hair.
Uh-huh.
That's gotta
I mean,
go.
it's super adorable.
That's gotta go on a cabinet.
Where do you
that's
think
gotta,
this
it's gotta
hair
go on a
came
shelf.
from? Like,
I don't know.
what part of his body? Is this like armpit hair?
It's probably not. It's probably back hair.
Bigfoot back hair.
Bigfoot back hair.
It's
That's
so cute. It's
it
like
is.
this tiny
I
little.
like, I
okay,
like
have
that.
to
It's
take
so.
pictures.
Yes, that has to go on a shelf in our new studio.
Super cute.
I love that we're gonna have like shelves to put
Me
our
too.
gifts and stuff up.
Oops. Well, thank you, Melissa. These are so
Yeah,
adorable.
they are awesome. And she sent us a box of actually good stuff.
You people get me. I love that you get me.
And our
So
2
cute.
taste test items,
Okay. I'm afraid I'm
Both-
going to break that.
both taste test items are chocolatey.
See? People
They get you.
me.
This one actually sounds really good, so I'm going to try this one first because I'm excited.
Okay. Oh, yeah, I got to take pictures. Godiva. Milk. Ooh,
Yeah.
this does sound good. Milk chocolate with the taste of popcorn.
Popcorn milk chocolate.
Yes. I got to take a picture. Well, have you had any kind of popcorn that's had chocolate like drizzled
Yes.
on it? Oh, it's so good.
But I've never had chocolate that had popcorn in it.
No, me neither. Okay.
This can't be bad.
Are we going to start with this one?
Yes.
Like, okay. It can't be bad.
I know I've said that before, and it
Said
turns
that
out
about, yeah,
bad.
exactly. 230 calories for the whole bar, Kurt.
Well, that's not bad.
That's a lot of calories, actually, but... Okay, ready? I'm just going to break a chunk off. Okay. I got the G.
I got the G too.
Oh.
I think there's only G's.
I didn't look any further than the piece I got. Okay, I took a picture. Ready?
I'm ready. I don't. Okay, I get the popcorn.
There's like a crunch to it.
I get a little bit of popcorn.
I haven't gotten any popcorn yet.
A real little
But I mean,
flavor.
Godiva chocolate is amazing to begin
I get a
with.
real tiny little hint of popcorn, but I would just think this was a crunch bar if I didn't know differently. But it's really good.
I mean, it's amazing. I don't... Oh, now I do. Mm-hmm. Okay.
It like
It's
sneaks.
salt.
It,
I think there's some saltiness.
yeah, it like sneaks up at the end and kicks you in the butt.
That's good. I've never met a
Oh, and
chocolate I
Anna,
didn't
thank
like.
you for our new, our second Strange Sessions bingo board
Oh my God, I was
that I
laughing so
literally
hard.
laughed out loud when I read.
Yes, thank you for that. It's so funny.
This is really good.
The popcorn flavor is really, really subtle. It's more of a saltiness, maybe like a hint of butter.
But it is good. Yeah, I mean,
Godiva chocolate is amazing.
out of 10?
I'm going to give it an 8 just because I don't think it's as popcorny as I would expect it to
I'm
be.
going to give it a 9 because it's really good. No matter what it is.
Wasn't that one of the things on the board was that Kurt consistently rates everything
Yes.
2 points higher than
Yes.
Krista?
And then I always finish the taste test item.
So you're going to eat that?
Nope, you can eat that. This next one is... So I dropped something and then smashed myself in the face with my microphone when I turned around.
Good times.
Dust from the floor.
Oh, cute.
And we have more Bigfoot magnets.
I believe it says. Who sent me the sticker for my car? I can't remember now.
Oh, I don't remember either.
But the decal on my car says "believe," and it's a thing.
We got so many cool Bigfoot things. Thank you so much, Melissa.
Seriously.
We got one more taste test item.
You people are my spirit animal. I'm just saying.
This one intrigues me. This one intrigues me because...
Is it also chocolate? Yeah,
yes.
You said they were both chocolate? Okay, hold on. Kurt's trying to hand me something. Gusto. Ooh, I'm going to love this. Okay, number 1.
I don't know
I
what
love
rosemary...
white chocolate.
I don't know what rosemary tastes like.
Oh, I do. I grow it. I eat it all the time. It's amazing. I love white chocolate, even though it's technically not chocolate. It's
no,
more
but
like
I love white chocolate.
It's a chocolate flavored substance, but I love it. Oh, rosemary and sea salt.
Chocolate.
White chocolate. Yes. Sorry. The package is really pretty, actually. I love rosemary.
It says on the back it pairs with roasted turkey.
Oh, that makes sense. I like to use rosemary in like potatoes and chicken. Okay, ready?
I'm ready.
Mix into mashed potatoes. It says.
That would be interesting.
I don't know if I'd put chocolate
in mashed potatoes,
but
might be a taste test thing.
Ooh. I'm really
Krista looked like she started drooling a little bit
so
there.
Pretty. Like even the chocolate is pretty. I have to. It has like a design on it.
It is pretty.
Take a picture of that.
When I was a kid, I used to buy the blocks of white chocolate and eat them. So I think I just got like really burnt out on white chocolate.
I always make white chocolate treats around Christmas. You would know. You always get a
little box,
a Christmas care package. Okay, ready? I'm just gonna break a hunk off.
I am curious about this one.
Ooh, I smell the rosemary.
Oh. I don't know what I think
rosemary.
of that smell.
I'm excited. Ready?
Right, ready.
This is interesting. Kurt doesn't like it.
I don't like it.
It's salty. It's very salty, but it's sweet.
I don't like it.
Your face is so great right now.
It's so weird. It's like I taste the chocolate, but at the same time I'm like tasting
rosemary. It's
turkey.
very heavy on the rosemary.
It like reminds me of a Thanksgiving dinner.
I love it.
It's disconcerting in my mouth.
Your mouth wants turkey, but it's getting chocolate instead. I will take this one home. You can take the other one home.
No, you can take them both.
Oh, really?
I don't know. It's like it doesn't mesh.
It's an unexpected pairing.
It's like messing me up because it's like two different taste experiences.
Savory and
like
sweet.
Yeah, like one side is Thanksgiving meal and the other side is chocolate, and it just no.
Kurt's noping this taste test. Okay, what do you give it?
I'm going to give it...
Negatives are not allowed.
No, it's not a negative,
unless
but
it's
I'm going to
fish
give it
flavored.
a 5.
A 5? Okay.
What I really like about it is that it is really salty.
Yes, I do love
And I'm a sucker
salty.
for anything salty.
Yes,
and
anything
that is
sweet
like
with salt.
one of the saltiest
It's very salty.
chocolates that I've ever tasted.
Yes.
But if it was just the salt and didn't have that rosemary in there, I would love it. But the rosemary throws me off.
I'm going to give it a 7 because just in general, the overall flavor profile doesn't exactly work for me, but it tastes like it says it's going to taste. So I give it a couple points for that.
I just no.
I might actually try mixing this into something like it recommends.
Mashed potatoes would be interesting.
Because I think the white chocolate would be really subtle.
Yeah, but I think the rosemary would add to the mashed potatoes.
And the saltiness. Interesting.
Wow, thank you, Melissa.
Yeah.
Okay, maybe that wasn't so bad. now that I just have the aftertaste.
This is that if I put it over by him, it'll be gone by the end of the episode.
Exactly.
This is growing on me.
So we are going to jump into the main story now, and I want to give a couple disclaimers, like I always do. I think I bit off more than I could chew with this episode, because this is a very frightening rabbit hole to go down. So I touched on what I could. I am going to cite a lot of sources in this episode because I did use a lot of internet sources, newspapers, magazines, whatever. And I also want to say that I might find myself saying conspiracy nuts or privacy freaks during the course of the episode. And neither of those are meant as a as an insult. Because personally, I am not a privacy freak. I don't care. This stuff has never really been in my wheelhouse. Like, I don't care.
Yeah. Big brother
but I realize that a lot of people do. So when I say...
I'm kind of with you in that I don't care either.
Yeah, Rosemary. So when I say conspiracy freak or conspiracy nut or privacy freak, it is not intended to sound insulting because I'm kind of a conspiracy nut. Mm-hmm. So I just wanted to get that out of the way. But our topic today is about basically electronic surveillance and how much it goes on. And this, I'm just going to say that this shocked me. Like, I did not realize it was like it is. So for this, we're going to start with a little history. Krista got off of social media at just the right time.
And it's not because of this, though.
No.
It's different reasons.
So we're going to start with a little history. Anytime you have a big enough group, there's going to be some sort of external or internal surveillance going on just to keep tabs on what is going on within the group. So while this was undoubtedly going back as far back as there have been groups of people getting together, I'm spitting pieces of chocolate on myself.
It's going to haunt you through the whole episode.
We are going to start with the year 1896. It's widely believed that institutional domestic surveillance began in 1896 with the founding of the National Bureau of Criminal Identification, which by the year 1908 had become the Federal Bureau of Investigation. And another disclaimer, if there is any episode of ours that is going to get us tagged on some government watch list, it's going to be this one. This organization operated under the authority of the Department of Justice. By 1935, it had become an independent agency under the leadership of J. Edgar Hoover. Hoover is credited with greatly modernizing criminal science and police technology by creating things like a national fingerprint database, or by advancing. It's going to be one of those episodes.
I'm trying to figure out what word you're trying to say because I'm advancing?
Or by advancing forensic sciences. So everything was kind of hunky-dory until it later came out that during his tenure, Hoover had been abusing his power and going well beyond the limits of what the FBI was supposed to be doing.
Hey, did you get fingerprinted as a kid?
I don't know. I honestly don't remember.
I remember my parents taking us to, if it was the courthouse or the police station, but we got fingerprinted, and it was a whole part of the whole, if your kids ever go missing, their fingerprints are on file.
I'm sure I did at some point. I just do not remember it. Hoover was greatly concerned about subversion, especially with the idea of communists infiltrating the government in Hollywood, where they would use their positions to advance communism into the United States. By 1939, 5 years after becoming an independent agency, Hoover and his staff, through the use of wiretaps, mail tampering, garbage filtering, and undercover infiltrators, had prepared secret FBI index lists on more than 10 million people. The FBI indexes, or index list, was a system used to track American citizens and other people that the Federal Bureau of Investigation deemed suspicious well before the use of computerized databases. The index list was originally literally made on paper index cards compiled by Hoover and others at the FBI. The index list was used to track U.S. citizens and others believed by the FBI to be dangerous to national security, and it was subdivided into various divisions, which generally were rated based on different classes of danger the subject was thought to represent. There is no indication that the FBI stopped adding names onto its index list before September 11, 2001, so this list was no doubt constantly added to over the years since the FBI started. During the 40s and 50s, the era of McCarthyism, surveillance was in full force as the Red Scare of communism was causing all sorts of panic. Hoover believed in what McCarthy was doing, so he 100% supported him using all the methods he had available. One of the things that came out of this was the Hollywood Blacklist, where lives of actors, actresses, producers, etc. were destroyed by claims that they were communist. I remember Lucille Ball was supposedly one that they tried going after as being communist. Over the years since then, celebrities, scientists, and other well-known figures were surveilled and had FBI reports made on them, including First Lady Eleanor Roosevelt, Marilyn Monroe, all of the Beatles, but particularly John Lennon, Martin Luther King Jr., and Albert Einstein, who was subjected to telephone wiretapping and having his mail gone through by the FBI as part of a secret government campaign.
Albert Einstein lived in the U.S.?
Yeah. I think. That's what this said. Albert Einstein, who was subjected to telephone wiretapping and having his mail gone through by the FBI as part of a secret government campaign that aimed to link him with a Soviet espionage ring in order to first discredit him and then deport him from the United States. So basically, if you showed any kind of political leanings or ideas that didn't coincide with those of Hoover and the FBI, you were probably being watched without your knowledge. While all of that was going on November 4th, 1952, an organization known as the National Security Agency, or the NSA, and just saying NSA might get us very well put on some kind of list, or the NSA was officially established in complete secrecy by President Truman. It had previously been an organization dedicated to deciphering coded communications during World War II, but with the restructuring of it into the NSA, the organization became responsible for all sorts of surveillance. The best definition of what the group does is that it's responsible for global monitoring, collection, and processing of information and data for foreign and domestic intelligence and counterintelligence purposes, specializing in a discipline known as signals intelligence, or I've seen this pronounced different ways. It's SIGINT. I've seen it pronounced SIGINT, and I've seen it pronounced SIGINT. So I'm going to go with SIGINT. I'll probably end up switching it back and forth. Specializing in a discipline known as signals intelligence, or SIGINT. SIGINT is intelligence derived from electronic signals and systems such as communication systems, and the NSA relies on a variety of measures to accomplish its mission, the majority of which are secret. The NSA currently conducts worldwide mass data collection. We're going to come back to this one. I've always been fascinated with the NSA ever since I read about it when I was a kid. If you ask anyone about government intelligence agencies, they'll immediately name the FBI and CIA, but far fewer people know about the NSA. The NSA was actually a pretty well-kept secret for years, with people joking that NSA stood for, quote, no such agency. Mm-hmm. Although a lot of facts about it are still kind of murky, it's believed to be the largest of the intelligence organizations in the U.S. and possibly the largest in the world, believed to be possibly 3 times the size of the CIA, and it's also believed to employ more mathematicians than any other organization in the United States, which is interesting. Mm-hmm. I didn't know that. But yeah, NSA is that's a big thing. That's a big deal. On August 17th, 1975, Senator Frank Church went on NBC's show Meet the Press and talked about the NSA without actually mentioning its name. He said, quote, "In the need to develop a capacity to know what potential enemies are doing, the United States government has perfected a technological capability that enables us to monitor the messages that go through the air. Now, that is necessary and important to the United States as we look abroad at enemies or potential enemies. We must know at the same time that capability at any time could be turned around on the American people, and no American would have any privacy left, such as the capability to monitor everything. Telephone conversations, telegrams, it doesn't matter. There would be no place to hide."
You know, it's funny, as I'm sitting here listening to you talk, I realize that I have a Post-it covering my camera.
Yeah.
So
And that actually comes up.
Record me.
Yep, that actually comes up in a thing later.
Our more modern laptops actually have a little thing you can switch over that covers the camera.
Yep.
My work laptop has that, but hey man, cut out a Post-it note and just stick it on there.
Exactly.
Same thing.
I don't. Let's let mine, whatever.
They can see whatever they want.
Okay, going back to the quote from Senator Frank Church, he says, "If this government ever became a tyrant, if a dictator ever took charge in this country," like that would happen, right? Mm-hmm. The technological capacity that the intelligence community has given the government could enable it to impose total tyranny, and there would be no way to fight back because the most careful effort to combine together in resistance to the government, no matter how privately it was done, is within the reach of the government to know. Such is the capability of this technology. So yeah, they knew back then that it could be potentially dangerous, you know. So I'm definitely skipping over some stuff here. This is a huge, fascinating, scary rabbit hole to go down if you ever want to. But now I'm jumping ahead to 1988. 88 was a good year. I graduated from high school, all that stuff. Music was awesome, hair metal. In 1988, an article appeared in the New Statesman. It was written by British journalist Duncan Campbell, and it was titled Somebody's Listening. This article was a huge thing, and it was a shocking eye-opener to everyone. One of the bombshells the article dropped was about a secret program codenamed Echelon. Echelon is huge, so we'll go back to the beginning of it.
It's also what 30 Seconds to Mars calls their fans.
Echelon?
The Echelon.
Really? Mm-hmm. Rhonda would know that.
Yes.
Yeah.
And so it'd be easy.
The first publicly known mention of what became known as Echelon was in 1972, when former NSA analyst Perry Felwak used a pseudonym to tell Ramparts magazine about a global network of listening posts and his experiences working there. Then, in 1982, James Bamford, an investigative journalist, wrote The Puzzle Palace, an in-depth look at the inner workings of the still super-secret NSA and the massive eavesdropping operation it ran under the codename Shamrock, which became changed to the name Echelon in 1975. Then, in 1988, Margaret Newsom, a Lockheed employee under contract with the NSA, disclosed the Echelon surveillance system to members of Congress. Newsom, told a member of Congress that the telephone calls of Strom Thurmond, a Republican U.S. Senator, were being collected by the NSA using Echelon. Then Duncan Campbell's article came out and the lid was completely blown off of it. Echelon was a secret surveillance program that could monitor any and all transmissions, including phone calls. It was operated by the United States with the aid of Australia, Canada, New Zealand, and the United Kingdom, collectively known as the Five Eyes. As Britain's newspaper The Guardian once stated, quote, Echelon is a global network of electronic spy stations that can eavesdrop on telephones, faxes, and computers. It can even track bank accounts. This information is stored in Echelon computers, which can keep millions of records on individuals. Officially, however, Echelon doesn't exist. Former NSA employee Margaret Newsom claimed that she worked on the configuration and installation of software that makes up the Echelon system while employed at Lockheed Martin from 1974 to 1984 in California. At that time, according to her, the codename Echelon was the NSA's term for the computer network itself. Lockheed internally called it P415. The software programs were called Silkworth and Sire, and a satellite codenamed Vortex intercepted communications. It sounds like Echelon was started with the idea that it would monitor things going on outside the country, but like anyone could have guessed, it started to be used on people inside the country.
Well, sure.
People had always joked about the government monitoring their phone calls and stuff, but Echelon was the first time that it was confirmed that this really was happening. There were even unsubstantiated reports that when people were making an overseas call and they mentioned the words FBI, I have CSI. Oh, wow. There are even unsubstantiated reports that when people were making an overseas call and they mentioned the words FBI, CIA, or especially NSA, there would be a faint click as Echelon started recording the call. According to Wikipedia, by the end of the 20th century, the system referred to as Echelon had evolved beyond its military and diplomatic origins into a global system for the interception of private and commercial communications, mass surveillance, and industrial espionage. I mean, Echelon is real. This isn't like a conspiracy thing. This was 100% going on. Echelon is a deep, fascinating rabbit hole to go down if you so desire, but if you're the paranoid type... Yeah.
Well, I'm not the paranoid type. I don't want to become paranoid.
Yeah.
Let's put it that way.
Then we get to September 11th, 2001. After the horrible events of that day, the Patriot Act was put into place. The act expanded the abilities of law enforcement to enact surveillance, including tapping international and domestic phones. And in 2007, the Protect America Act removed the warrant requirement for government surveillance of foreign targets. All of this eased the potential for the government to monitor what we do in our day-to-day lives. Now we fast forward a little bit to 2013 when a CIA employee and subcontractor named Edward Snowden dropped a bombshell. In 2013, Snowden was hired by an NSA contractor, Booz Allen Hamilton. I think that's the contractor's name, B-O-O-Z. After previous employment with Dell and the CIA. He quickly became very bothered by the things that he discovered while at his job, and on May 20th, 2013, Snowden flew to Hong Kong after leaving his job at an NSA facility in Hawaii, and in early June, he revealed thousands of classified NSA documents to 4 journalists, who quickly wrote articles in publications like the New York Times and the Washington Post. I remember when this happened too. I remember.
Totally.
I didn't know a lot about Edward Snowden or what he released. So this was kind of my first time reading all this stuff.
I knew that he was over there because he was trying to avoid
being prosecuted.
Right.
According to Wikipedia, the exact size and scope of Snowden's disclosure is unknown. The unclassified portion of a September 15th, 2016 United States House Permanent Select Committee on Intelligence report estimated the number of downloaded documents to be 1.5 million. That's a lot of documents.
Dang. Who's got to review all that?
Yeah. Glenn Greenwald stated that Snowden's disclosures contain sensitive NSA blueprints detailing how the NSA operates and which would allow someone who read them to evade NSA surveillance. Just a ton of disclosures were made about the NSA and the entire Five Eyes intelligence alliance, which again is made up of Australia, Canada, New Zealand, United Kingdom, and the United States. On June 21st, 2013, the United States Department of Justice charged Snowden with 2 counts of violating the Espionage Act of 1917 and theft of government property. He then fled to Russia, where he was granted the right of asylum. Snowden has defended his leaks as an effort to, quote, inform the public as to that which is being done in their name and that which is done against them. He is a very polarizing figure. I mean, to some people he's a hero, to some people he's a traitor.
Right.
You know, I lean towards this whole topic is a really, really sticky topic.
It is.
I get
we have terrorists living on our soil who are we know there are people planning the next attack. We know this. They get foiled all the time. And without the surveillance that exists, they would not be captured. But we give up part of our privacy and freedom.
We give up a lot of our privacy and freedom for that. But I think people didn't realize the amount of freedom and privacy they give up. And I think that's what was eye-opening.
It's a conundrum.
Personally, I lean towards more hero. And I say that feeling guilty because it does give the enemy an idea of how to escape being caught.
Right.
You know. But
also lets the American people know what's really going on.
Yep, exactly.
It's like, I don't know, where's the middle ground?
I don't know. There isn't any, and that's what makes this difficult.
Yeah.
So what were some of the disclosures he made? One of the first things people learned about was something called Prism. Prism is a program that allows for court-approved direct access to the entire contents of any American's Google and Yahoo accounts. He also revealed a secret court order requiring Verizon to hand the NSA millions of Americans' phone records on a daily basis, and something called X-Keyscore, an analytical tool that allowed for collection of, quote, almost anything done on the internet. Snowden said of X-Keyscore, I, sitting at my desk, could wiretap anyone from you or your accountant to a federal judge or even the president if I just had their personal email address. It was also revealed that the NSA was tracking and mapping the location of cell phones, searching email content, secretly accessing Yahoo and Google data centers to collect information from hundreds of millions of users worldwide by tapping undersea data cables. So that's a lot. Also, according to documents revealed in December 2013, the NSA and the CIA routinely spied on users of the computer games Second Life, Xbox Live, and World of Warcraft and attempted to recruit would-be informants from the sites. NSA agents also spied on their own love interests, a practice that NSA employees termed love-int, or love intelligence, which is just creepy. That there's something really disturbing about that. And the NSA was shown to be tracking the online sexual activities of people they termed radicalizers in order to discredit them if need be.
Oh boy.
They were monitoring people's Pornhub, what they were watching and stuff like that. According to Wikipedia, an NSA mission statement titled SIGINT Strategy 2012 through 2016 affirmed that the NSA had plans for continued expansion of surveillance activities. Their stated goal was to, quote, dramatically increase mastery of the global network and to acquire adversaries' data from anyone, anytime, anywhere. In 2014, leaked slides revealed that the NSA's stated objective was to, quote, collect it all, process it all, exploit it all, partner it all, sniff it all, and to know it all. That's just disturbing. In March 2014, documents came out that showed that the NSA had plans to infect millions of computers with malware using a program called Turbine. When a person's computer had Turbine on it, the NSA is able to silently pull files from their hard drive, covertly record audio from a computer's microphone and take snapshots with its webcam, launch cyber attacks by corrupting and disrupting file downloads or denying access to websites, and to pull data from removable flash drives connected to any infected computer. Also started in 2013 and fully completed in 2019 is the Utah Data Center, or the UDC, officially known as the Intelligence Community Comprehensive National Cybersecurity Initiative Data Center. According to a March 15, 2012 article in Wired magazine called, quote, "The NSA is building the country's biggest spy center, watch what you say," the article says, quote, "The NSA has become the largest, most covert, and potentially most intrusive intelligence agency ever. Under construction by contractors with top-secret clearances, the blandly named Utah Data Center is being built for the National Security Agency. A project of immense secrecy, it is the final piece in a complex puzzle assembled over the past decade. Its purpose? To intercept, decipher, analyze, and store vast swaths of the world's communications as they zap down from satellites and zip through the underground and undersea cables of international, foreign, and domestic networks. The heavily fortified $2 billion center should be up and running by September 2013. Flowing through its servers and routers and stored in near bottomless databases will be all forms of communication, including the complete contents of private emails, cell phone calls, and Google searches, as well as all sorts of personal data trails, parking receipts, travel itineraries, bookstore purchases, and other digital pocket litter. With the post-9/11 changes to laws, for the first time since Watergate and the other scandals of the Nixon administration, the NSA had turned its surveillance apparatus on the U.S. and its citizens. It has established listening posts throughout the nation to collect and sift through billions of email messages and phone calls, whether they originate within the country or overseas. It has created a supercomputer of almost unimaginable speed to look for patterns and to unscramble codes. Finally, the agency has begun building a place to store all of the trillions of words and thoughts and whispers captured in its electronic net. And of course, it's all being done in secret. To those on the inside, the old joke that NSA stands for never say anything applies more than ever. So yeah. Basically scattered all throughout the country, there are several plain-looking windowless buildings that serve as listening posts, where all methods of communication flow through them, and they are analyzed, and the data is ultimately sent to the new central location, the Utah Data Center. There are buildings in New York and Chicago and Hawaii, and you can find actual photos of these buildings online. I mean, this is a legitimate thing, that these listening post buildings are real, and all the communication ultimately flows through them.
Okay.
According to the Wired article, quote, "In secret listening rooms nationwide, NSA software examines every email, phone call, and tweet as they zip by. Once the communications are intercepted and stored, the data mining begins. You can watch everybody all the time with data mining," ex-NSA employee William Biney says. "Everything a person does becomes charted on a graph. Financial transactions, travel, anything," he says. Thus, as data like bookstore receipts, bank statements, and computer toll records flow in, the NSA is able to paint a more and more detailed picture of someone's life. The NSA also has the ability to eavesdrop on phone calls directly and in real time, according to Adrian J. Kinney, who worked both before and after 9/11 as a voice interceptor at the NSA facility in Georgia in the wake of the World Trade Center attacks. He says, quote, "Basically all rules were thrown out the window, and they would use any excuse to justify a waiver to spy on Americans." In response to claims that the data center would be used to illegally monitor email of U.S. citizens, in April 2013, an NSA spokesperson said, quote, "Many unfounded allegations have been made about the planned activities of the Utah Data Center. One of the biggest misconceptions about the NSA is that we are unlawfully listening in or on or reading emails of U.S. citizens. This is simply not the case." This statement was made about 2 months before Snowden's document leak that revealed the existence of the Prism program, which showed that they were doing exactly that.
What they said they weren't doing.
Yep. So your emails and phone calls are being recorded and analyzed and stored away for God knows what, but your text messages are safe, right? No. Of course not. That's literally what I have, is of course not. According to a 2014 article in the British newspaper The Guardian, quote, "The National Security Agency, or the NSA, has collected almost 200 million SMS text messages a day from across the globe, using them to extract data including location, contact lists, and credit card details, according to top secret documents based on material provided by NSA whistleblower Edward Snowden. The NSA program, codenamed Dishfire, collects, quote, pretty much everything it can, according to documents.
Dishfire.
Yeah, they have such weird names for these things. Yeah, the NSA program, codenamed Dishfire, collects pretty much everything it can, according to documents, rather than merely storing the communications of existing surveillance targets. An agency slideshow presentation from 2011, subtitled, quote, SMX Text Messages, A Goldmine to Exploit, reveals that the program collected an average of 194 million text messages a day in April of that year. In addition to storing the messages themselves, another program known by the codename Prefer conducts automated analysis on the untargeted communications. But then we get into the whole thing about this being done by computer program as opposed to a human being
right.
going through your stuff. So it's like what's
started
intrusive and what's not intrusive.
It probably started with humans, but then they were probably like, well, a computer could do this a lot easier. At the end of the day, if the computer finds anything, humans are going to review it.
That's exactly what happens. The search function for the text databases allows for keywords to be searched for in the messages, but it's also said that a warrant is needed to read specific messages. And the reason why everyone's messages are stored was laid out in the GCHQ. I don't know what that is. In the GCHQ report about Dishfire, saying, quote, this makes it particularly useful for the development of new targets, since it is possible to examine the contents of messages sent months or even years before the target was known to be a person of interest. So they keep all these messages.
I'd like to know how often they get it wrong. Like, think they have a target, and it turns out it was just a weird coincidence. And the person really is up to absolutely nothing nefarious.
I think it happens all the. I think it happens all the time.
It's in the name of saving our country from terrorism.
Yeah, exactly. So this applies to SMS text messages. You and I send SMS. Like me and Melissa.
What does SMS stand for?
I will tell you in 1 second.
The
I have
Google
it here. I have it here in my notes somewhere.
Okay.
Let me look at my notes. It stands for short message service.
Okay.
But you and I, when we text each other, that is an SMS message. When Melissa and I text each other, or when Miranda and I text each other, because we both have iPhones, that goes through iMessage. So Apple's iMessage system has end-to-end encryption, but people even wonder how safe that is. Who knows what the NSA's deal is with Apple? They probably have access to all of that too. Plus, who knows how long it will be safe for? In 1994, mathematician Peter Shor came up with what's known as Shor's algorithm. It's a, quote, polynomial time quantum computer algorithm for integer factorialization. It said that a quantum computer running this would be able to break any encryption of any kind. And of course, the NSA has been working on getting one up and running. According to a 2014 article in the Washington Post called, quote, NSA seeks to build quantum computer that could crack most types of encryption, the article says, quote, according to documents provided by former NSA contractor Edward Snowden, the effort to build a cryptologically useful quantum computer, a machine exponentially faster than classical computers, is part of a $79.7 million research program titled Penetrating Hard Targets. With such technology, all current forms of public key encryption would be broken, including those used on secure websites, as well as the passwords used to protect state secrets. This whole quantum computer thing is a fascinating rabbit hole in itself. Quantum computers are insane. According to some stuff I read, the NSA already has a version of it that they do use, but other stuff says that they're many years away from having one with the capacity to do this. But once it's up and running, no encryption will be safe. Bitcoin, text messages, websites, etc. And the NSA also wants a quantum computer to create encryption that can't be broken by quantum computers.
Oh, good Lord.
So, yeah, it's one of those things. But they get this specific quantum computer running, they will be able to crack anything. Absolutely anything. So it's just crazy. So basically, any forms of communication you are using ends up routed through places that analyze it, look for keywords, transcribe it, or just save it and store it based on the whims of whoever wants to investigate you.
It almost makes you want the grid to go down.
Exactly. Like I have
Although our podcast would no longer
exist. That's the thing is I have no doubt that somewhere our podcast is downloaded and it's transcribed and it's stored somewhere. in case they ever need to go back and look at us.
Right.
And now that I'm saying NSA so many times, I would not be surprised if this got flagged somehow. You know, like I'm waiting for a van to show up. But I got something. I do have something interesting I got to say later. That's kind of cool. But I think it's just a coincidence. So now the location tracking. You know, as long as I remember, there was talk of the government wanting to chip people so they could track them anywhere they went. And even though we haven't been physically chipped, we willingly give the government and corporations the ability to track our every move.
GPS, baby.
Our cell phones. I mean, that's you know, conspiracy people just laugh at that for years people are like, they're not going to chip me. And they just did the next best thing. They gave us this thing that we have with us all the time that
we're
has
all
GPS.
Addicted to, basically.
Yeah, exactly.
Can't leave a room without.
Exactly.
Well, Chris is in the kitchen now.
Yeah. So people say that they shut off the GPS feature on their phone. Who knows? You know, there's something called a tower dump. A tower dump is the sharing of identifying information by a cell tower operator, which can be used to identify where a given individual was at a certain time. And this happened with Maura Murray, where her cell phone pinged off a tower, and that's become kind of a thing.
Oh, the pinging, yeah.
Yeah, and that's exactly what this is. As cell phone users move, their devices will connect to nearby cell towers in order to maintain a strong signal, even while the phone is not actively in use. These towers record identifying information about cell phones connected to them, which can be then used to track individuals. In most of the United States, police can get away with many kinds of cell phone data without obtaining a warrant. Law enforcement records show that police can use initial data from a tower dump to ask for another court order for more information, including addresses, billing records, and logs of calls, text, and location. And again, this is what happened with the Maura Murray, where they got that ping off a cell phone, and that's exactly what this is. So they know where you are, even if you have your GPS off, based on the cell towers.
Right.
In 2018, John Roberts, the Chief Justice of the Supreme Court, said, quote, "When the government tracks the location of a cell phone, it achieves near-perfect surveillance as if it had attached an ankle monitor to the phone's user." You might be like, so what? If I vanish or something, it's kind of a good thing, and I'm not doing anything illegal, so why would anyone care about my location data? According to a January 9th, 2019 article on TechCrunch called, quote, "Despite promises to stop, U.S. cell carriers are still selling your real-time phone location data," the article says, quote,
well, they're selling it.
Exactly.
They're making money off of this.
Last year, 4 of the largest U.S. cell carriers were caught selling and sending real-time location data of their customers to shady companies that sold it on to big spenders who would use the data to track anyone, quote, within seconds and for whatever reason they wanted. At first, a little-known company named Location Smart was obtaining and leaking real-time location data from AT&T, Verizon, T-Mobile, and Sprint, and selling access through another company called 3C Interactive, selling it from them to Securus, a prison technology company, which tracked cell phone users without asking for their permission. Now, new reports show that while Location Smart faced the brunt of the criticism, few focused on the other big player in the location tracking business called Zumigo. Worse, Zumigo stole that data, like Location Smart did with Securus, to other companies like Microbuild, a Georgia-based credit reporting company, which in turn sells that data to other firms that want that data, and so on and so on. The phone companies said that they would no longer sell this data, but as of February 2020, it was still happening, and the FCC has been pursuing legal action to find the companies. It's not just the phone companies either. According to a February 7th, 2020 New York Times opinion piece called, quote, "The government uses near-perfect surveillance data on Americans," the article goes on to say, quote, "Many apps, weather apps, coupon apps, for instance, gather and record location data without users." I keep switching between data and data. Sorry if that's driving people nuts.
I didn't even notice, actually.
Many apps, including weather apps or coupon apps, for instance, gather and record locations data without users understanding what the code is up to. That can then be sold to third-party buyers. Since that data is available for sale, the federal government has essentially found a workaround by purchasing location data used by marketing firms rather than going to court to get a warrant on a case-by-case basis.
So the marketing firms are using it to somehow make money.
Yeah.
But the government is like, well, hey, we
is
can
buying
dip
it
into
from
that
them
too.
so that they can
And
go around.
It's perfectly legal.
Yeah, so they can go around getting a warrant. And right now, what is kind of opening people's eyes is that cell phones are being used to track what? COVID.
Oh, really?
Yeah. Yep.
Oh, I did. Well, I remember getting a notification on my phone.
Yeah. According to an April 5th, 2020 article in Forbes called, quote, "Coronavirus phone tracking now impacts us all, and this is just the start." The article says, quote, "It has become just one more factor in the new normal we are living with today, after an escalating backlash in months gone by against phone tracking technologies, a backlash that promoted location privacy responses from Apple and Google. We're now all being tracked to help stem the spread of the new coronavirus, and apparently we're fine with it. The slight twist, of course, is that we're still being tracked anyway. It's just that our governments are now tapping into that data. There will not be blanket cell phone surveillance in the U.S. long term, but there will be a series of questions as to whether a surveillance ecosystem should be built to better deal with this kind of situation next time around." And that's exactly what they're going to do. They're going to be like, well, look, it helped us with coronavirus, so let's make it so people... Yeah, exactly. And there will also be a debate over when this kind of tech can be used, civil unrest being one example. And there's a lot of civil unrest lately. This will strike fear into hearts of privacy campaigners, as will the fact that commercial tech developed as part of this drive will no doubt find its way into the wrong hands. And according to a March 2020 article on The Verge called, quote, "U.S. government officials using mobile ad location data to study coronavirus spread," the article says, quote, "The U.S. government officials are using cell phone location data from the mobile ad industry, not data from the carriers themselves, to track Americans' movements during the coronavirus outbreak." And that just floors me that it's not even actually coming from the mobile carriers. It's coming from ad industry that buys the location data from the cell companies. Right. The goal is to create a government portal with geolocation information from some 500 cities across the country to help ascertain how well people are complying with stay-at-home orders, according to the Wall Street Journal.
Oh, geez.
One example of how the anonymized data was reportedly used: researchers discovered large numbers of people were gathering in a New York City park, and local authorities were notified.
I just realized that the OGs on the bingo.
That's on there. Yeah.
Me.
Yeah. But yeah, they noticed using the data that a lot of people were gathering in this park, and authorities were notified to go break them up. And to me, that's scary. That is scary. That is scary. You know, and also going with the location, you know, the fact that cameras are everywhere now.
Oh, yeah.
You know, like I think I said it on here before that there was a horrible case in Manitowoc where a father and his daughter were killed. And I knew a lot of people that actually were friends with the daughter. But somebody down the street had a camera in front of their house, and that's how they caught the guy, was they had the image of him walking down the street. And it's just like, you know, it's not just the cell phone stuff. Think of how many cameras are everywhere. Like,
is the government accessing those Ring doorbells?
Oh, I'm sure they are.
Why not? They're all online.
I'm sure the NSA has access to that.
So now you're giving them a free look into your private property as well.
Yeah. Ugh. Like I said, this was one of these things that I never cared about, but researching this stuff, it's like, holy cow.
Well, on the one hand, I'm a private person just in general. But it's not because I have anything to hide. I'm just a private person. So on the one hand, I'm like, well, I don't have anything to hide. But on the other hand, it's like, but that doesn't mean that it's okay for people to watch what I'm doing.
Yeah, it's not okay for them to have all of my cell phone, all of my email records
listening
downloaded
to us
somewhere.
Talk right now through our phones.
Yeah.
You know?
Yeah. So between the cell phone stuff, cameras, I mean, our locations are almost always monitored. You know, another one is court cases where somebody died and their husband or wife said no, that they were home sleeping at the time. So then they got access to the person's Fitbit and saw that they had like 2,000 steps at the time that they were supposedly sleeping.
Right.
And they got busted because of that. So think of how little...
If there's any GPS attached to that, they can
exactly.
see where they went.
Exactly. So think of how much we are... It's known during the day what we're doing. Mm-hmm. You know, and we willingly give that up, which is kind of crazy when you think about it.
Well, and the idea, we've just become so dependent on our phones. Yes. The idea of me traveling anywhere without a phone, like what if I break down? How do I get help?
Exactly.
You know?
So now both our communications and our locations are constantly under surveillance, but are our much-loved devices actually monitoring us 24/7? According to a really good June 4th, 2018 article on Vice.com called, quote, "Your phone is listening to you and it's not just paranoia." The article says, quote, "A couple years ago, something strange happened. A friend and I were sitting in a bar, iPhones in pockets, discussing our recent trips to Japan and how we'd like to go back. The very next day, we both received pop-up ads on Facebook about cheap return flights to Tokyo. It seemed like just a spooky coincidence, but then everyone seems to have stories about their smartphones listening to them. So is this just paranoia, or are our smartphones actually listening?
So I've never experienced that where something I only spoke about showed up in an ad. But I've definitely Googled
I know
things.
personally people that have had that happen.
I've only Googled things and had them show up in like a Facebook ad or Instagram or whatever.
There's
I've never
YouTube,
spoken something.
There's clips on YouTube of somebody showing how this works, and they put their phone there, and they're like,
I've heard enough people say it too.
I think I want to get into camping, and then all of a sudden the next day they come back and show that they have ads for tents and stuff.
Gander Mountain is now
sending exactly.
them ads.
Smartphones or devices like the Amazon Dot all use something called triggers. It could be, oh man, I didn't even think about this. I might be setting off people's stuff in their house if they listen to us.
Oh,
sorry guys. It could be Hey Siri or Alexa or Okay Google that triggers the device. I could just imagine everybody's got all stuff going out now. It could be those terms that triggered the device to start recording or searching for what you are saying. But the fact that these triggers activate it shows that the device always is listening. According to that Vice article, quote, in the absence of these triggers, any data you provide is only processed within your own phone or device. This might not seem like cause for alarm, but any third-party applications you have on your phone, like Facebook, for example, still have access to this non-triggered data. And whether or not they use this data is really up to them individually. From time to time, snippets of audio do go back to other apps like Facebook's servers, but there's no official understanding what the triggers for that are, explains Dr. Peter Henway, the senior security consultant for cybersecurity firm Asterix. Whether it's timing or location-based or usage of certain functions, these apps are certainly pulling those microphone permissions and using those periodically. All the internals of the application send this data in encrypted form, so it's very difficult to define the exact trigger. He goes on to explain that apps like Facebook or Instagram could have thousands of triggers. An ordinary conversation with a friend about needing a new pair of jeans could be enough to activate it. Although the keyword here is could, because although the technology is there, companies like Facebook vehemently deny listening to our conversations, because of course they're going to say that they don't listen to our,
it's
Facebook. I don't trust Facebook worth a damn. I just don't. It's just convenient to use, so that's why I stay there.
That's where our strangers are.
Yeah, I know. But I just do not trust them with anything. I just don't. But the thing is that this does happen. The author of that article did an experiment where his phone sat on a table, and he repeated several times throughout the day that he was thinking about going back to college or that he needed new work shirts. He said, quote, the changes came literally overnight. Suddenly, I was being told mid-semester courses at various universities were on and how certain brands were offering cheap clothing. Jeez. A private conversation with a friend about how I'd run out of data led to an ad about a cheap 20 gigabyte data plan. And although they were all good deals, the whole thing is eye-opening and utterly terrifying. And it is. It's believed that when Facebook is picking up snippets of things that you are looking for, it doesn't directly sell your information. And this makes complete sense. I never really thought of this. It's believed that when Facebook is picking up snippets of things you are looking for, it doesn't directly sell your information to the advertisers. What is believed to be happening is that Facebook keeps your data to itself, and it charges the advertisers a fee for Facebook to put their targeted ads on your wall. As the article states, quote, rather than saying, here's a list of people who followed your demographic, they'd say, why don't you give me some money and I'll make it so that your demographic or those who are interested in this product will see it. So if they let that information out into the wild, they'll lose the exclusive access to it, so they're going to try to keep it as secret as possible. So it's not exactly much more comforting to know that Facebook only has access to this data, but at least they aren't selling it directly to advertisers that we know of. So we know of. Yeah, that we know of. So will deleting Facebook help? According to a 2019 article on Forbes called, quote, of course your phone is listening to you, the article says, quote, perhaps you downloaded Face app in the heat of the old age challenge, then deleted the app out of concerns it would take your photos and other data. Once you've downloaded and authorized the app, however, its creators have access to whatever data they want. Deleting it afterward does very little to protect your privacy. Some companies even go out and purposely acquire defunct apps simply to access that user data. Steve Wozniak said about private data, quote, I'm worried about everything. I don't think we can stop it, though. His advice to anyone who cares about their privacy is to, quote, figure out a way to get the hell off Facebook. The problem is leaving any social platform doesn't erase the data off that your network has shared. I mean, that's out there. That's already out there. And it opens a door for a lot of other sacrifices too, which it does because it makes it harder to communicate with friends and family. There's little recourse considering that none of what is happening is illegal. The entire system of social media being supported by ads is flawed since it's all geared to benefit advertisers and not the users. And the results range from effective advertising boosting shareholder profits to swinging elections. Unless the laws are online advertising... Whoa. Oh. Wow.
I guess that happened.
Yeah, we just had a major... Our thing we put in the window just completely collapsed on us. Oh, we need to put that back up because I cannot see. Yeah, I cannot see anything. I'm so happy we're getting out of here.
Yeah, honestly.
I'm glad you saw that out of the corner of your eye.
Wow. Nobody got hurt.
Yeah.
Okay.
I'm going to leave that in the episode because that's kind of cool. Okay, now where was I?
And we're back.
Okay. Yeah, the entire system of social media being supported by ads is flawed since it's all geared to benefit advertisers and not the users.
Well, yeah.
And the results range from effective advertising boosting shareholder profits to swinging elections. Unless the laws or online advertising ecosystems are changed, then these tactics will only become more refined. And the thing is that it is becoming more refined. According to that Forbes article, quote, technology companies use algorithms to target ads more effectively, and the more data they have, the more precise these campaigns are. This makes these ads much more influential than ads are meant to be for a general public. Techno-sociologist Zeynep Tafouki explains it this way, quote, machine learning has enabled algorithms and artificial intelligence to learn, adjust, and improve advertising targeting to the point that no human would understand or know exactly how it is targeting its users. More disturbing than that is the possibility that, quote, a platform like that using artificial intelligence could decide to turn out voters for one side or another, and how would we even know about it? So that's creepy. That gets into the whole artificial intelligence thing.
Right.
You know, and the more these artificial intelligence programs analyze our data, the more they know about us.
Right.
You know, so that's creepy all on its own.
It's creepy because you think you're just doing some really simple, innocent stuff online, and every single bit of it is being collected to benefit someone
what
else.
scares me about that is when he says when he says that using algorithms and artificial intelligence to learn, adjust, and improve advertising targeting could get to the point that no human would understand exactly how it's targeting. That I mean,
that's creepy.
Yeah, that is creepy.
AI is gonna
take over. The thing is, though, phones don't even really need to be constantly listening to you. According to a 2019 article on the BBC News called, quote, Why Phones That Secretly Listen to Us Are a Myth, the article says, quote, the results won't surprise those in the information security industry who've known for years that the truth is that tech giants already know so much about us that they don't actually need to listen to our conversations to serve us targeted advertisements. The reality is that advertisers have extremely sophisticated ways of profiling users. Losers.
I heard that.
Yeah. Location data, browsing history, and invisible tracking pixels, for example, all provide enough information to predict what you might be thinking about buying. They can also link you up to friends via social media information and guess that you might be interested in the same things that they are searching for. These techniques are constantly improving and evolving too. Mobile advertising and security expert Soteris Dimitrou from Imperial College London said, quote, the advertisements that you see are a result of huge amounts of data that the companies have about you. They share a vast amount of information.
It's making noises, and I swear it's going to fall again. I got it covered if it does.
Okay.
Just ignore me because I'm constantly going to be looking at it.
Mobile advertising and security expert Soteris Dimitrou from Imperial College of London said, quote, the advertisements that you see are a result of huge amounts of data that the companies have about you. They share a vast amount of information across advertising networks powered by machine learning algorithms and AI that are extremely powerful. Or as Dr. Dimitrou says, quote, They now have the ability to effectively know what you could be interested in even before you do, which is creepy.
Yeah.
That's just really scary.
And I believe that's actually possible.
Oh, I totally do. And again, that brings it back around to your phone tracking your locations. I've been reading, I think just a couple weeks ago, I read a conspiracy theory that some people think that stores like Walmart or Target purposely make it hard to get a phone signal inside their stores so that you connect to the store's Wi-Fi signal where you can be more easily tracked about where you are in the store. But they don't even need to do that because there's cameras everywhere in the store.
Yeah, but if they want to use that to change how they arrange things in the store.
Which I think they do. That I could kind of see it, but it's also a big block of concrete, so your phone isn't going to work as good.
Right.
But a lot of people think that that's why you don't get that they want you to connect to their Wi-Fi so bad is so that they can track you.
Never thought of that.
Around the store. Yeah. And it's the same with Alexa or Google Home. There've been a lot of sketchy stuff going on, with Alexa, where it's apparently sent recorded conversations from one family to another's family Alexa accidentally, or where it just starts randomly doing something out of the blue. Like our phones, Alexa is always listening for that trigger sound, but it's also known that the things that you say into it totally go straight to Amazon where it's listened to. According to a Washington Post article from 2019 called, quote, Alexa has been eavesdropping on you this whole time. The article says, quote, Alexa is always getting smarter, which is only possible by training her with voice recordings to better understand requests, provide more accurate responses, and personalize the customer experience, Beatrice Jeffrin, director of Alexa Privacy, said in a statement. These recordings also help Alexa learn different accents and understand questions about recurring events such as the Olympics, she says. Noah Goodman, an associate professor of computer science and psychology at Stanford University, told me it's true that AI needs data to get smarter. He says, quote, technically, it is not unreasonable what they are saying. Today's natural language processing systems need to rerun their algorithms over old data to learn. Without the easy access to data, their progress might be slow unless the computer scientists make their systems more efficient. But then he takes his scientist hat off and says, quote, as a human, I agree with you. I don't have one of these things in my house, Goodman said. And the more things you attach to your Alexa, the more that Amazon knows about you. They know what times you shut off your lights at night. They know what times you open or close your refrigerator door. Ugh. It's actually scary. And I just want to say that my living room light is connected to my Alexa. When I go to bed, I'm like, Alexa, shut off the light. And she turns off the light. And this week, 2 times, the light came on by itself. The same time I was researching this, which kind of was like...
Is that a weird coincidence?
Yes. Yeah.
Maybe your
it
place
has
is
happened.
haunted.
It has happened once in a while in the past, but very, very rarely.
Twice in 1 week.
But twice this week. Well, I'm researching this exact thing. I'm laying on the couch at like 4 p.m, and all of a sudden the light pops on by itself.
That's weird.
So it's like,
it does make you stop and think.
It does make you stop and think. But yeah, the fact that they know what time you go to bed, they know what time you open and close your refrigerator door. I never think about that stuff, and it's scary.
Well, even just the idea that if somebody working there who had access to this information wanted to go rob a bunch of people, they would know exactly
we'll
when
get to
they
some
were.
Stuff like right here.
Yeah.
And it came out in the last year or two that it's not just AI that's listening to what you say to Alexa. Sometimes it's Amazon workers that are listening to it to help with the speech recognition. They don't know supposedly who you are or where you live, but it's still a little disconcerting. According to a 2019 article on AfterDawn.com, quote, not only are Alexa's commands recorded, but according to Bloomberg sources, they also hear noises that aren't meant for Alexa's electronic ears at all, including things like people singing in the shower, couples having sex, or children crying out for help.
Oh my God.
Some employees have reported hearing what they suspected was part of a sexual assault, but when they reported it, they were told that Amazon's internal policies dictate that they cannot intervene. So at the end of the day, of course, these devices, I read, I don't know if I have it in here, but I read they actually had counseling there for people that would hear a child being beaten. I mean, I could not.
Hell no.
I could not.
I don't care. I'd call 911. I don't even care.
No.
Fire me.
So at the end of the day, of course, these devices are always listening. They only supposedly record after the target phrase is said, but sometimes it doesn't work that way, and everything you say to Alexa could very well get sent to get listened to by AI or Amazon workers. Amazon is in the business of selling you things, so of course it benefits them to know your routines and interests. For myself personally, I trust Amazon more than I trust Facebook. I really do.
Well, probably, yeah.
You know, I'm not saying that they're not
Unless they're
geared just
cahoots.
to sell stuff to you, but yeah.
I have a cute side story
Okay.
for Google Mini.
Okay.
So we have a Google Mini. It was given to me as a gift from my former coach or boss. Normal people call them bosses. We call them coaches where I work. And we use it when we're too lazy to actually Google something ourselves. We'll say, "Hey Google," and then my phone's probably listening to me now.
Yeah.
And you ask a question, she usually has an answer, whatever. You can tell her to, meow like a cat. That always freaks my dog out.
I do that with my Alexa has an app on it that plays cat sounds, and sometimes I'll do that. Narnia, and her ears will perk up, and she'll be like, "Huh?"
It's kind of funny to play with, but every once in a while, I will hear it making this popping noise when I'm in a different room, and I'll come out and Lucy is sitting on the edge of the couch booping it with her nose, because every time she boops it, it makes that noise, and then she tilts her head and her ears flop, and then she boops it again. It makes
so
that
cute.
noise, and I'm like, what are you doing?
That is so cute.
Yeah.
That is so
but
cute.
now I want to rip it out of the wall and throw it away. So.
Yeah. Yeah. So
I wonder how often she does that when we're not home, and then people are just listening to my dog run around the house.
But I've heard, I know people that have personally said they woke up in the middle of the night and Alexa is talking, saying something like somebody had sent something to
That's
it.
creepy.
Yeah, it is.
Maybe their house is haunted.
I don't know.
How much of this is paranormal and like...
Yeah. So is all this as scary and evil as it sounds? In the end, that's all kind of up to you. As far as the advertisement stuff goes, the Vice article says, quote, "It's just an extension from what advertising used to be on television," says Peter. "Only instead of Nielsen ratings and primetime audiences, they're now tracking web browsing habits and interests. It's not ideal, but I don't think it poses an immediate threat to most people. But as far as the overall surveillance stuff goes, according to a 2014 report in the Washington Post, relying on information furnished by Snowden, 90% of the people placed under surveillance in the U.S. are just ordinary citizens."
Yeah. I don't know. It's how scary it is to you. I think that's true. Like
it is.
Like, again, I'm just private and I have nothing to hide, but it doesn't mean that I don't like the idea. It doesn't mean that I like the idea of people surveilling everything I say and do. I mean, they're going to be bored as hell because that's what so boring, but...
So what can you do? Short answer, not much. But here are a few things. Number one, shut your phone off when you aren't using it, or don't always bring it with you. This is a common sense one, but it also kind of defeats the purpose of having your phone with you.
I'm sorry, but when you have aging parents, you can't just shut your phone off.
No.
Especially when they live an hour and a half away.
Number two, disable Hey Siri or OK Google as triggers for your phone. I don't have my phone set up that I could just say Hey Siri or whatever. It
came that way, so I'd have to figure out how to shut it off.
It's in the settings. I shut mine off right away. I don't like that.
Yeah, I probably should get rid of that.
But does it matter? Not really.
Probably
I'm sure.
Not. I'm just asking, like, what time does Menards open?
No, does it matter that you
cares.
shut it off? Probably not, because it's still probably listening.
Probably.
You know.
Unless your phone is off, I think anybody can listen.
Number three, disable Facebook's microphone access on your phone. This will affect being able to voice chat over Messenger and stuff, but you can always turn it on and off as need be. Number four, use a search engine like DuckDuckGo that is more transparent about its privacy, or use the Tor browser that is usually used to get on the dark web. But people even question whether these are more secure, but they are more privacy conscious than Google.
Well, they I don't know how it works, but people can't trace you by your IP address when you're using the dark web.
No, but there's still people getting busted on the dark web, so they're still tracking people.
Is the sun still in your eyes?
Yeah, but that's okay.
I don't think I can go any
higher.
No,
I don't think so either.
Unless I stand there and hold it.
That's okay. Number five, go through your phone's app settings and see the permissions they all have. If there's no reason for an app to need access to your location or microphone, shut that permission off. I do that right away. Yeah, anytime I get a new app, I look at what permissions it uses. I mean, all this is probably meaningless because they're going to get whatever they want anyway.
Right.
But I always shut that stuff off. Number six, the Amazon Dot does have a clearly marked button on top of it to temporarily shut off the microphone. Does it work? Who knows? And finally, the last two options. Number seven, smash your phone, smash your Alexa, move to a cabin in the woods, eat squirrels and mushrooms, and drink pond water. And number eight, continue living as you are and accept that this is just the way of the world now.
The cabin in the woods is really
appealing,
it
does sound nice. So basically, it is what it is. There's nothing you can really do about it.
If it weren't for this podcast and the fact that I do have parents who are in there,
you wouldn't even probably need your phone.
No. I'd be perfectly happy without internet, without television.
Yep.
Although there is a new Netflix series out that I was going to mention after we're done talking.
So I wanted to end this with a quote, and there were so many good quotes that it was like actually hard. There was one, I don't remember even who said it, but I liked it. And the quote was basically that it said the NSA's biggest fear is that right now somewhere in the world there's a conversation going on that they don't have access to. And that's totally true. But I'm going to go with this one that I found really interesting. It's from a really, really fascinating and brilliant man named Marshall McLuhan. He's considered a philosopher and academic, and he's been called the father of communications and media studies and the prophet of the information age. He said, quote, "It is just when people are all engaged in snooping on themselves and one another that they become anesthetized to the whole process. Tranquilizers and anesthetics, private and corporate, become the largest business in the world, just as the world is attempting to maximize every form of alert. Sound light shows, as new cliche, are in effect mergers, retrievers of the tribal condition. It is a state that has already overtaken private enterprise as individual businesses form into massive conglomerates. As information itself becomes the largest business in the world, databanks know more about individual people than the people do themselves. The more the databanks record about each one of us, the less we exist." And he said this in 1970, which just floors me. That he died in 1980, and I wonder what he would make of this, of what it's become. So yeah, there you go. What do you think?
Well, it's definitely much more deep than I thought it was. It's more widespread than I thought.
It is way more widespread than I thought it was.
I knew about the phone stuff. I knew that your phone was listening to you and sending you ads. I knew that unless your phone is shut off completely, that the microphone is still, people can tap in there and listen. But a lot of this was kind of news to me. I don't know. It's like, on the one hand, I'm like, A, I can't do anything about it. B, I'm super boring and people can listen all they want. But C, it's the principle. It is.
That's exactly what it is. It's just the principle that we have
a right to privacy and to protect your personal information.
Yeah. I mean, even if I leave my phone at home, take my Fitbit off, go through a walk in the woods, there's still satellites that can see me. You know what I mean?
There's probably surveillance cameras somewhere.
Yeah. So it's just like there's literally nothing we can do about it. And we willingly gave up a lot of that because of cell phones, and we willingly gave a lot of that up to the government in return for being protected from terrorist acts, I feel. So
it's a sacrifice we're making.
Yeah, it's a sacrifice.
Unknowingly.
Yeah, exactly. So I didn't realize, like, the phone stuff, that all of our stuff is basically recorded and stored. I mean, that just floored me. Like, the amount of that our text messages are saved and stored. So this just shocked me. This really did. And like I said, I'm not a privacy guy. I don't care what people know about me. But the people that do really care, I see why they freak out about this. So it's crazy. It's seriously, this to me is one of the most frightening stories we had, because I didn't know it was going to this extent. Right. So yeah. I don't know. And like you said, it's such a slippery, like Edward Snowden. Is he a hero? Is he a traitor?
Right.
On one hand, we're protected from, God knows what could have happened if we didn't have this network of security, but still, the fact that some guy in the NSA could think you're cute and go through all of your stuff is disturbing.
And get to learn your routine.
That Alexa knows what time I go to bed at night. That there's a
what
graph.
Time your doors are unlocked
that there's a graph
during the
somewhere.
Day.
There's a graph somewhere of that stuff. It's just frightening.
Did you hear in the news just in the last couple of days, some governor, there was a plot to kidnap
Yeah, that was a Michigan governor.
But all the training happened here in Wisconsin, by the way.
Yeah.
How was that foiled? Like, how did they...
They said informants...
Also, people, they weren't being surveilled.
But I'm sure they were being surveilled. In some way. I'm 100% sure that, like, so much of this stuff where they bust people, it's like, how do they know?
Right.
You know, I think a lot of this is that they're being surveilled. And
they're reading their emails.
They're
and
reading their emails, reading their
calls.
text messages, listening to their phone calls, and we just don't know that.
I think that's what's really hard about this is
and it's easy to say it's an informant, that we had an inside informant.
Right.
No, you're reading everybody's text messages.
We know that terrorist plots have been foiled.
Yeah, yeah.
And
so who's to say that who's to say that if this wasn't done, a dirty bomb might have been dropped on New York that wasn't because of this. So it's a very double-edged sword. It really is. Do you value your security or do you value your privacy?
And
in the end,
I don't think there is any middle ground.
No. In the end, I'm willing to give up privacy for that security, but it's not.
Tell me about it then. Make me aware of it.
Yeah, but
don't hide it from us.
With this AI stuff, I could see it becoming something very dangerous.
I'm on a team at work where we're looking at AI for stuff, and I'm the only person who at the end of the meeting was like, so is anybody freaked out about this? Like, the AI is learning. We were talking about how this AI would learn how to beat you at a game. Like maybe at the beginning it couldn't beat you, but it would learn how to beat you. And I'm like, that's creepy.
Yeah,
like it's anticipating my thoughts.
Yeah. Oh, totally.
That's creepy. Like, doesn't this scare anyone?
Yeah. And when you partner that with knowing our ads, our what we do, what we look for, where we are at all times during the day. Yeah, that's a horror movie waiting to happen.
Yeah. I do think also the possibility of being misidentified as a target is really scary too.
Oh, yeah, it totally is. Like I said, this
episode
could seriously flag us, and they might be watching us for a while.
Right. And we're completely,
if you like it, if you like us, join the strangers. Go right ahead, But
you'll see a lot of pickle references.
Yeah.
And Bigfoot paraphernalia.
Yeah, a bunch of military guys in an underground bunker shaking their heads listening to our bad pickle jokes.
Right, exactly.
But it's just, this was, like I said, I bit off more than I could chew with this one because I did not realize it was as deep and as all-encompassing as it is.
Right. I didn't either.
And
I think part of me prefers not to think about it because I can't do anything about it.
Were my lights going on twice this week?
I do kind of want to unplug my Google Mini though. It's like, is it worth
mine
having
is
something
because
that's
I
always
love
listening?
mine. It's my timer. It's my, I can
you have
tell
Alexa or Google Mini?
Amazon.
Oh.
I don't want to keep saying it because it's probably setting off people's house, but I have the Amazon one.
Sorry.
But I will say, I have it hooked up that I will say the name, schedule the podcast recording this Saturday morning at 7:00.
It'll put it in your calendar.
And it'll put it in my Google Calendar. So Google has access to what time we do this. Amazon has access to what time we do this. It's just crazy.
Everything is so digital.
Everything
now.
is so automated. And with automation comes knowing what we're doing when we're doing it.
So I haven't watched it yet, and this isn't the Netflix thing I was talking about just a second ago.
Social media?
The Social Dilemma it's called, and I need to watch it.
I've heard it's really good, and that it has made tons of people get off of social media.
Yeah.
Social media is just a messed up. We were talking about that on the drive here, how messed up social media is, so.
On the surface, it seems so innocent, but there's something really toxic about it.
Yes, there's something. It's very toxic, and like this article said, that it is not for us. It is for advertisers, basically. It is. Its goal is to make money for advertisers.
And if you're a business, I'm sure social media is amazing. Well, we would not have the family and the community that we have without social media. So I can't say anything bad on that level. Like for the podcast, on a personal level, I have no use for social media anymore, though.
I do, because that's how I keep in touch with friends.
The people I need to keep in touch with have my phone number or my email address.
Yeah. So yeah, what do you guys think? Are you bothered by this? Are you not bothered by this?
You got the tinfoil hat on yet?
You got the I'm thinking about...
I'm ready to put one on.
I was just going to say, I'm thinking about making one when I get home. Stop at the store and get some foil. I don't know. This just floored me, how bad it is. Or how good it is, depending on how you look at it.
Knowledge is power.
Yeah. So what do you guys think? Let us know.
We're probably just scratching the surface, too.
Oh, I'm sure.
Think of all the stuff we don't know about.
I'm sure. They get that quantum computer going and the AI going. It's going to take over the world.
I mean, we have cars that drive themselves now, so... Which I personally will never go anywhere near one. I'm sorry, but if you can't parallel park yourself, you shouldn't be driving.
Yeah.
Just saying.
Just do what I do. Pull around the block, find a spot. I have not parallel parked since my driving lesson.
Oh, are you being serious?
Yes,
right now?
I don't parallel park.
Oh
I will drive. I will walk a mile away if I don't have to parallel park. I hate parallel parking.
Funny.
So there you go. What do you guys think? Strangers, listeners, NSA, what do you think about this episode? Let us know. Let us know. If you liked it, turn my light on tonight at 4:00 again, like you have been doing.
I actually titled this episode. I always save it to, and then I put it on Kurt's.
Put Big Brother?
Yeah. No, it says they are listening.
Oh, and they are.
What I
they 100% are.
Yeah. Great.
So, what do you guys think? Let us know. So next, song?
Sure.
I totally didn't even think of a song.
I had one last weekend because I stumbled on a song and I was like, this is going to be my song selection. Do you want me to go first so you can think about it?
Yes, because I don't know.
So do you want the long backstory? Probably not. I've talked about Wolfpack on here before. They were one of my, they're a funk group. Funk music seems to be my spirit animal right now. And this came up as a suggested video on YouTube. Again, they're listening and assessing my needs and giving me songs I like.
Yep.
So the name of this is something like, "What if Creep were a funk song?"
That's actually cool.
So the song is "Creep" by Radiohead, and I'm not a Radiohead person at all. I don't really get into their music, but I've always loved the song "Creep." I think it's a great song.
"Creep" is a good song, but that is like the only Radiohead song I like.
Me too. Yeah. Same. So this
and they hate it. They hate that song.
Really?
They don't do it in a concert. No.
That's funny. Well, then I'd be really disappointed.
Yes, you would.
To see them. Anyway, so this group, I want to say it's more like a project. I don't know if they're a group or if this is like just a project that they do, but they're called Scary Pockets. And they take songs that we all know from everything from the Beatles. There's an amazing Eleanor Rigby funk cover that is just, it's amazing. So that's like an honorable mention. But like Britney Spears, Madonna, Fleetwood Mac, they cover a ton of different artists and genres and turn them into funk songs. And this is a funk version of Creep, and it's amazing. So I'm going to post the video on the Facebook page.
I'm actually really interested to watch that because that sounds really cool.
It's so cool. I love it. So that's my song selection.
Huh. I still don't know one. I'm looking.
I thought you'd come up with like a Van Halen song in honor of Eddie passing.
I was really bummed about that because they're not.
I'm not a Van Halen fan.
They've never been like my favorite band.
No, I don't like Van Halen.
I love songs by them.
See, I don't want to insult anybody, so I'm not going to say why I don't like Van Halen. But Eddie Van Halen, I come from a family of guitarists. Eddie Van Halen's a god. I will say that right now, or he was a god. I mean, he was insanely talented. Like, he was a guitar god.
Yeah, he was.
So
I heard that wasn't necessarily the nicest guy in real life, but who is?
He had such a sweet wife, though. Well, not anymore. Valerie Bertinelli. I love her. They divorced years ago.
Yeah, I keep forgetting that they divorced. I'm going to pick a Van Halen song just because you said that.
In honor. I mean.
And this is one of their songs that they released, but it was never really a big hit. But it's just one of those songs that the beginning starts, and it's just one of those songs that just makes you feel good. And the name of the song is "Feel So Good." And it's just, that's one of those songs that as soon as I hear the beginning part.
Is this Sammy Hagar?
Yes, it's Sammy Hagar. I'm not a big David Lee Roth fan. He's a little too
showy and flashy
for you. I love Sammy Hagar era Van Halen. I just do. Dreams is so good. Why Can't This Be Love is good. Like, a lot of their stuff is good. But I'm going to go with the song "Feel So Good" by Van Halen because that is one of my happy place songs that as soon as it starts, I just get instantly a feeling of happiness because I just feel like it's like a sunny, cool song.
So, I can't place it, but I'm sure I'll recognize it.
Maybe not, because it's not one of their big hits. It was released.
It didn't get a lot of airplay.
It didn't get a lot of airplay, but I just love the music. I love the beat of the song. I love the guitar. I love Sammy Hagar's vocals, and I even love the silly little video. So I'm going to post that one. It is "Feel So Good" by Van Halen. And yeah, it's one of those ones. His death is one of those things that I didn't think would hit me as hard as it did, but it did.
He's an icon for sure.
So yeah, "Feel So Good" by Van Halen. Thank you for suggesting something because I was stuck.
I know a lot of people were kind of talking about it on the Facebook page.
Yeah. So yeah.
Pickle joke?
Are we forgetting anything else?
I don't think so.
Song choice.
Look up our question.
Oh, I forgot a question.
I'll read a pickle joke.
I'll play as soon as we get done recording. I'll play the song for you, and you can let me know if you.
I'll play mine on our drive back.
Okay.
Let's see. What do they call Martian gourmets?
What?
Purple pickle eaters.
I think we already did that one.
Did Jim read this one?
I think Jim might have read that one.
Where do little pickles come from?
Where?
Inside the jar. They're just so dumb.
It's just not good.
That was a bingo that I laugh anyway, no matter how dumb it is. I'm not even reading that one. Okay, that's enough. We're going to run out of pickle jokes at some point. We'll have to come up with a new theme.
We're running out of questions, so we might have to stop with the questions for the news.
Or people need to step up and ask some questions.
We're going to do 2 of them this episode.
Okay.
That might be why we're running out of them.
We usually do like 2.
Hi, Kurt and Krista. I love the show, and I'm wondering if you could make a TV show with an unlimited budget, what would you make?
Oh, a TV show with an unlimited budget. I don't know. Would you want to do like a paranormal show?
I don't know. I would I've thought about this myself. I would love to make like a TV show that is kind of like a rip-off of The Stand, where it's like the world ending thing and there's some people left alive and they're fighting, like there's like a bad side and a good side, which basically is a rip-off of Stephen King's The Stand.
Right.
But I always thought that has possibilities for being a show like Lost, where it's just a really good show that you get sucked into, that you like. I know that's kind of a cheesy answer, but if I was like a screenwriter, I would have loved to have done that.
I think I'd lean more towards doing some kind of investigation show.
Yeah.
Like Bigfoot or...
Like the Bigfoot Hunters.
That'd be awesome,
Bigfoot Hunter
actually.
kind of... Like those shows that... I can't think of the name of it, but it's the one that the girl... reporter or whatever would go and look for Bigfoot, look for Bermuda Triangle and stuff like that. Like I could see
Mysteries Decoded.
Yes, I could see you doing a Josh Gates kind of show.
That'd be fun.
Yeah.
Because I could travel and actually get to experience these things myself.
And I could see you doing that. But it's weird that I lean
I'm
more...
also a behind the scenes person though.
Yeah.
So the idea of being on camera...
Yeah. And that's why I think I lean more towards like a show like Lost or Fringe or a show like that people get invested in. Like I love that idea of people tuning in every week to watch my show.
Mm-hmm. On a side note, if I had an unlimited budget, I would just do this for a living.
Exactly.
There'd be no TV involved. We'd just do this podcast.
Exactly. So good question. That's an interesting question. Other question by Anonymous. Why do you think so many ghosts seem to be from ages past, like ghosts wearing Victorian clothes? And that's a really good question because you don't see a lot of ghosts wearing MC Hammer pants and dancing around. It's always like old-fashioned.
That's a really good question.
I want to come back as
a
parachute pants, MC Hammer dancing ghost, because that would be cool.
Zubas?
Yeah.
Are those called Zubas?
But it's a really good question.
Yeah, I don't know.
While I'm thinking about this, I want to give a shout out to Lauren and Brian's podcast, Historic Ramblings, that I was on, and that episode is going to be released, I think, right around Halloween. It was me and Neil Story and John Cox, and it was really fun. But that came up in there, I think, like why so many ghosts wear old-fashioned clothing.
I wonder if the media, at least, and like television shows often focus on hauntings that happen at historical locations, and maybe that's why. But I mean, I watch enough like the Dead Files. I don't know why I like that show. There's certain ones that I just always watch.
Yeah.
And even then, though, it's often someone more recent. It's more of a current person who died maybe in the last few years. She's psychic. That's, if she is. I always take everything with a grain of salt. But a lot of times it is people from like, a century or two ago. I don't know.
Part of me leads me to think that is proof that we are manifesting the ghosts with our unknown psychic abilities. Is that we are so expecting to see old style clothing on ghosts that we create that, like the Philip experiment.
Yeah, they show us what we want to see too. Maybe that's it.
So I don't know. That's a really good question.
I'm baffled, actually. I never thought of it.
Why don't I see any ghosts in bad 80s clothes?
Right.
Like the stonewashed
like the wall
jeans.
of hair.
Yeah. Yeah.
Good question.
So very good question. And I don't know if we successfully answered either of these, but they were very good questions.
I'd be curious to know what people's theories are about that.
Why do you guys think that most ghosts seen are wearing old style clothing?
Old-timey clothes.
Old-timey clothes. Yeah, good questions. Huh. I really don't know.
I don't know either. We're stumped.
So you got us on that one.
Hope you weren't hoping for an answer.
Ain't get one.
It's a head scratcher. Is there anything else? Are we forgetting something?
I feel like we're totally forgetting something.
Thanks to Coleman again for lending those books. I've been paging through the Missing 411.
Yes,
There's so many books in there about Bigfoot that I haven't even touched yet, but I will.
I've been reading them.
You'll get them back eventually.
The first Missing 411 book I've been going through.
Yeah.
That should be, I think, our last episode of the season will be a Missing 411.
Before like the Christmas.
The break, the Christmas, the holiday break.
Do you want to tell people how many episodes are left after this one?
I think 4.
Okay.
I think 4.
So our last recording will be sometime in
like December 5th or something like that. But yeah, we're winding down this season.
And then we usually come back in like February?
No, late January.
Late January.
People start clamoring for us to come back around the middle of January.
We'll need to target a date so I can have the studio
and then we'll be in the new studio.
Yeah.
So that's going to be cool. And I think that's it. So the deets.
Yeah, the deets.
You can email us at, I just snotted on
Have there been any emails, people you wanted to mention from emails? I know we've gotten a lot of emails about story suggestions. Okay. So we'll have to remember to look at those.
You gotta start writing those down. We'll get better next season, folks.
You keep saying that.
A funny thing is our phone number for the Strange Sessions.
Oh, do you use that for school now?
I'm going to be using that for school. So I'm going to get...
It's not to discourage anyone to use it, though.
But I'll get like, Mr. K, I don't know what my homework is. And then the next one will be like a UFO story. So it's going to be interesting.
Yeah. So we haven't had a voicemail in a long time, though.
So at least it'll be getting used.
Yeah.
Email is thestrangesessions@gmail.com. We are on Twitter at Strange Session without the final S. Krista does a really good job on Instagram at The Strange Sessions.
It's a bingo square.
Bingo square. You can send us postcards and snail mail to The Strange Sessions, P.O. Box 434, Manitowoc, Wisconsin 54221-0434. You can start sending us food items around Christmas.
Yeah. Because
then we'll start recording again. Mm-hmm. If you have a message you'd like to leave for us, or if you're one of my students wanting to know what the book club book is, you can call us at 920-443-9602. And yeah.
A brief note about the social media thing. I am still managing the Strange Sessions
on Twitter,
on Instagram and Twitter.
Yeah.
It's just my personal account
and MySpace
gone. Yeah, and I Am Haunted.
Oh wow! I forgot all about I Am Haunted.
Right.
Holy cow!
That was like Facebook for paranormal people.
Yeah.
How funny is that? That's how I met one of our strangers, Troy. I've known Troy
since I Am Haunted.
Yes, we've kind of always stayed connected online somehow.
I remember Rita, the psychic.
Yeah. Oh my God. Yeah.
Yeah.
Funny.
That said you and I work good together. Yeah.
Wow, really?
Yeah. Well, yeah. She said that's why you and I are suited to work together is because we complement each other. And I think she said stuff about being empaths. So wow. I still have that.
She rings a bell, but I don't really remember a lot of that.
It was sent in an email. So NSA, if you can find that email,
dig that up for
if you can dig that up for us, watch me get home and it's sent to me. That would
be really creepy.
So
funny.
From Krista and I think that's it. Mm-hmm. From Krista and I,
soon to be known as the former Old School Media Studio. Actually, no, this will still be the Old School Media Studio. Like if Jeff and Joe want to get together, we're still going to be
in Old School Media Productions. We still might come here on certain occasions and record
if we have guests.
But so they don't know where Krista lives.
Depends on who it is.
Depends on who it is. But yeah, so from the Old School Media Studio for now. Until next time, stay strange.
This has been an Old School Media production, executive produced by Kurt Konechny. For more information and content, please visit strangesessions.com.